like to introduce our first speaker in this session, who is a member of European Parliament in London, and he is chair of the European Parliament Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs Committee. He is also, I'm very proud to say, vice chair of Stand Up to Racism. Please welcome Claude Moraes, MEP.
Thank you very much, Sabi, and thanks very much for asking me to go first, I think. What a world we're living in. I switched the radio on this morning and Steve Bannon was making a hysterical attack on George Bush for calling the President of the United States a populist, almost fascist, I think, was the language. What a world we're living in. What a world we live in. And Petros, Cornelia and David will talk about Europe and populism. And I work in a world every day where we see Hungary, Poland, just an election in the Czech Republic recently where populism is on the march. But let me begin with an optimistic note. I've been coming here, and I was talking to somebody outside, I've been coming here for a long time. Stand Up to Racism has been on the march for a long time. And let's just begin on this optimistic note. The people in this room, looking around this room, we're right, we have the arguments, we're on the march, and we will challenge that populism all across Europe. I really sense an analysis underneath all of the populism. That tweet of Donald Trump's, the conflation of our crime figures, where the President of the United States can conflate our crime figures, where a component of those crime figures are in fact race attacks, Islamophobic race attacks, and he can conflate that knowingly to create a populist reaction. Obama himself saying populist reactions are being created, that we can live in a world where everyone knows what is happening. Our analysis is right. Our analysis is right, and we have the optimism, and we have the campaigns, and that is happening today. So make no mistake, there is an optimism underlying this, but the challenge is great. And the challenge now is across, as this title of this plenary says, racism, Islamophobia, Ant-Semitism in US and Europe. It is across the world. There is a populist tide, and that populist tide cannot be corrected just by politics as usual. It must be the arguments that we have displayed in this movement for so long, when there were just few people, not so many people as we have today. But we have the people today, many familiar faces, many people who are campaigning, many colleagues from across Europe, many movements who have been with us for a long, long time. And what we must have in Popular is that analysis, but we must do something about it. And first we must ensure that we don't have the cliches, unity, diversity, progress. He is building walls, and we will build bridges, but that must no longer be a cliche. We have to flesh out exactly what that means in our movement. And what I see every day, and you will hear it from colleagues, in Hungary, in Poland, in democracies where you see the turning back, day by day, of democracy, and you see the targeting of minorities, the scapegoating of minorities. It is an incremental move back. It is a repeat of history, but in a different way. And we have to be aware of this. Our analysis was always correct. Now in the United Kingdom, and so Jeremy Corbyn came to Brussels this week, and there is a lot of optimism about the message that we can set forth. There is a lot of optimism. But we must be consistent and we must be strong. And populism is a very, very strong tide. I don't have much more time to say this, but because I came on first, I want to say this. You will hear from many of the speakers the challenges and the difficulties. Yeah, I've got the word there. You will hear many of the challenges and difficulties, but make no mistake that whenever I go to Hungary, whenever I go to Poland, where they're turning back the democratic tide, whenever I see any of these movements, whether it's in the United States, whether it's Black Lives Matter, whatever it is, the fact is that if we have a consistent message, if we join with those people, it is now a global movement. a global movement. Whatever is happening in Europe, whether it's the rights of our brothers and sisters, EU citizens, whether it's the rights of migrants, I am an immigrant. I see no difference between my experience and the experience of so many in this room. We join together, we build bridges, we have unity and diversity. Our argument is right, this movement is right. You see it today in this room, and all the speakers will give the same message. I'm very proud of what this movement has become. We are now mainstream, but we have an enormous challenge ahead, and that is what today is about. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the day.